Hey, Tomboy Official, what is going on? Uh, so for Wednesday, I almost made a mistake, guys. I basically said initially on Wednesday that I wasn't gonna be recording any more of these episodes, and I was kind of like a little bit like not no episodes for Tomboy Official, but no episodes for talking about my workouts. And that led me down this slippery slope of almost being like, okay, I'm gonna skip a day, which, mind you, skipping one day is not a huge deal at the moment, but the reasoning behind it was mostly because I was in this feeling, I want to rest, I want to lay down. And I guess I figured out that when I get that feeling, it doesn't always mean that I'm tired. Now, this happened while I was in the middle of studying. I'd had a really long day of learning the Linux terminal. We basically learned that for like 6 hours straight, including breaks. Well, 5 hours if you include, we logged into class. It was just a weird day. I started the day weird. I woke up at like 5:45. I was tired, but I was feeling good, and I was like, I had initially said to myself, I'm gonna wake up at like 6. I'm gonna get up at 6. I'm gonna record, and so I start my day wanting to do that. I'm gonna record. I'm gonna exercise, and then I'm like, just one more hour. Let me sleep past 6. Let me lay down, stay laying down until 6:30 in the morning. Let me stay laying down till like 7. Let me stay in bed till like 7:30. Now I was awake all that time, just lounging, watching YouTube for the most part. And then eventually I come in my brain to say, let me just skip today's workout. And I'll probably, I get an hour long lunch, so maybe I can cram in 30 minutes. I'll eat something super fast for lunch, maybe eat before lunch actually happens. And so that by the time lunch actually occurs, I'll have a little bit more time bought and the food will have possibly settled by then. And I also had skipped breakfast even before that point. And then I was like, I'll just eat a few snacks. So I still have a baggie of stuff that I was considering to eat. I ate a cheese stick, a mozzarella one. I ate a couple of these little Mott's gummies that are super sugary and not good for you. I opened a Nutri-Grain bar but didn't eat it. And I also had this protein shake that I didn't open or start to stir in at all. And a different Colby cheese stick that I never opened. And some raspberries that I also didn't have. I ended up having an instant ramen like around 11 something, and then we ended up getting our lunch break from about 12 to like 1:20, a little after 12 to 1:20. So I was like, cool, I have a really long break, so I'll try and work out. I got in about 20 minutes of movement, but I was like, yeah, like I'll count it for the day. So the day goes on. We in class just before 4 p.m. and I start studying, and I'm like, oh, actually, no, because it's Wednesday, we do our show. So we get burritos, we watch a show. So that didn't end until, I don't know, 5 something. So 5:30 p.m., I start studying. And everything's rolling. 6:30 hits, and I'm telling myself I'm going to take a break around 6:30, but I'll probably be studying till 9:30. 6:30 hits, and I'm tanking. I'm like so frustrated, and I'm just like, I don't want to do this right now. I've been doing this all day. I've been up since like 5:45 in the morning, and even though I wasn't super like productive early in the morning, I was still up. And I start in my mind with this, I'm too tired to do this. I'll wake up early and do that. Now that is already a problem, because lately when I say that I'm going to wake up early and do something, I don't always consistently follow through. And then I also get to a point where I'm like, I just want to veg out. But it's 6:30. It's too early to go to bed. It's too late to take a nap. And nothing on YouTube at this point even feels appealing. I'm just like, I'm not even interested in watching any specific thing. There's nothing I really want to tune into. So I find myself just, sitting there and being like, this sucks. I've got stuff I need to do, but I don't have the energy to do it as far as the thinking. But I'm like, I'm not going to even be in bed till like 9, 9:30 at the earliest. So what am I supposed to do between 6:30 and 9 if I'm not just watching stuff online? And I told myself, just do your workout. Because I actually was motivated to work out. I was like, I kind of want to work out. So I'm like, let me just turn all this technology off. And, I start with tidying up my room. That turns into just like stretching and foam rolling. So I clocked that for like 54 minutes or so. And then I'm like, okay, let's ramp it up a little bit more. We're going to get into some yoga. Because I started realizing somewhere during the stretching, maybe 20 minutes in, I was like, I'm not tired. I'm tense. I'm very tense. And I'm very sore from being tense and from sitting all day. Because that was the other thing where I was like, my back is feeling a little bad. A little bit. It wasn't quite like at pain enough to stop, but it was pain enough to be like, I recognize that there's some pain, and I was like, if I go from my desk chair to sitting on my bed, that's not a very supportive surface, but I was kind of like, I'd rather be a little cozy working on my labs. So I shifted over to that space from 5:30 to 6:30, and it wasn't really helping my back. I think I had my back massager on for part of it too, and that helped loosen things up. But I was still feeling pretty tight, and so once I started doing the tidying up and then the stretching, a little bit into the stretching, I was like, I think I need to stretch a little more deeply. Because a lot of times when I'm stretching, it's like 15 to 25 or 30 or so minutes early in the morning where I'm kind of multitasking, talking on here, and I'm not really paying attention to my body. And then I started doing like this body scan stretching, starting from the bottom up, and I was like, let me just start from like my toes to the arches of my feet, my ankles, and my heels, and my shins, and my calves, and my knees, and the joints in the back of my knees, and my thighs, and my glutes, and my hips, and then my spine and back and ribs and shoulders and arms, and all the parts of my arms and hands and neck and head. I don't think I got as far as like the head stuff, like as far as like stretching out my jaw and all that, but I went up to my neck. And after I did all that stretching and foam rolling of every single part, I was pumped. I was like, I did that for 54 minutes and I was pumped. I was like, I wanted to do yoga. I wanted to do whatever after that. I was like, I feel like that's what I needed, was to stretch, because my body is sending signals of this tension from being cooped up, from being sedentary, from not having really worked out that day too much at all, from having caffeine in my system, a lot of caffeine. I probably had 100 milligrams, if not a little bit more. And I think that's where, I've gained a little bit of distance. Is just recognizing that, yes, I was tired because I was up early, but technically, caffeine-wise, I was fine. Like, I had consumed so much caffeine. So I end up doing 18 minutes of yoga, and then 22 minutes of strength training after that, because I'm trying to work my way up, basically, to more intensity. So I did some bicep curls, but the 15 pounds, I just did one set of 5 reps each. That was in between using the 8-pound weights, where I worked out. I did obliques. Well, I did obliques with the 15 pounds, and then I did deadlifts, but with 2 legs instead of 1 leg up. but I just had both feet on the ground for those deadlifts, and then 8 pounds, 2 sets of 10, 10 reps each. But those were on. I did one set before using the 15 pounds and one set after the 15 pounds. So I did those presses, did these tricep, I don't know what they're called, where you kind of put the weight behind your head and lift it kind of straight up from there. Single leg deadlifts, and then, yeah. And I realized in the single leg deadlifts, I'm like, dude, my glutes are really not that strong. And then I did 33 minutes of Shotokan, so that worked out to be about 151 minutes, or 2 hours and 31 minutes of some forms of like exercise and such. Added to I guess it was 28 minutes of like light stretching / a little bit of a workout kind of earlier. So yeah, that was kind of my experience with that, and I felt like it went good, it went well, and I made it through. So I've kind of gotten into this bad habit of paying attention to my body in a way where I interpret the message that's going to my brain to slow down as something else. Like, I interpret the tiredness as like, slow down, rest, relax, watch stuff online, kind of veg out, self-soothe, that kind of thing. Do what makes you feel good. But I'm also realizing that in some aspects my level of self-discipline with some things, such as not really studying too much for 2 weeks, almost 2 whole weeks. Well, I did a little bit, but not a lot, and now I'm completely behind. I've got a lot actually due today for class. Workouts have been okay, but again, I'm not getting intensive results because I'm not doing intensive workouts. But nonetheless, we're still at it. We're still working at it, getting better every day. So, I guess I've learned a lesson to, when I'm paying attention to my body, to, if I'm feeling tense and it's giving the signal to rest, maybe I need to also make sure that I'm not having a lot of muscle tension. That's it for now, guys. Tomorrow's going to be Thursday. We'll see what Thursday and Friday bring. I don't even know if I have class Friday. We'll see. Thanks for listening.